What's going on, guys? It's Vic here, back with another Madden 20 video, and in today's episode we're going to be rebuilding the Detroit Lions, who have never appeared in a Super Bowl, which is pretty amazing to me considering I don't know if they were one of the first teams ever made in the NFL, and I don't know that for a fact, so don't rage in the comments at me for it. But anyways, we're going to be hopefully trying to get them their first Super Bowl win, as they did just pick up Jeffrey Okudah in the draft at pick number 3, and they did just get rid of Darius Slay to the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's time to get into the rebuild. Here we are in the rebuild roster, looking at Matthew Stafford as our quarterback, 31 years old, 10 years experience, star development, 82 overall, 5-star captain, even though that doesn't really matter. But I think we're going to be looking to trade him after this first season. He does get paid a lot, even though he is a very underrated quarterback, as Kerryon Johnson is here as our halfback. We may need to change that, as DeAndre Swift is also here, and DeAndre Swift at least deserves a star development, so I'm going to give him star development, and I'm going to start him over Kerryon Johnson. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his first name. I keep stuttering so bad. I don't know why. But Kenny Golladay is here, as he has armbar as his, not armbar, red zone threat. I saw the little bomb and I thought it was armbar, but he has red zone threat, which is probably one of the most overpowered abilities as a receiver. Marvin Jones Jr. is here. I don't know what we're going to do with him. He is pretty old, so probably we'll trade him. TJ Hawkinson, very great rookie tight end. And O-line obviously needs help. Not the worst I've seen, though. Defensively, linebacking core is terrible, and defensive backs aren't that good. Secondaries, it's, again, not the worst I've ever seen, but Jeffrey Okudah is here, and I'm going to give him superstar development because that is what he deserves, being the 3rd pick overall in the draft. And secondary does look better with Jeffrey Okudah in it. Giving up Darius Slay was kind of heartbreaking for Lions fans, but anyways, other than that, it's time to get into the trades. Here we are in the trades, as we are trading a bunch of depth players for the first pick in the 3rd projected pick in the draft from the Cincinnati Bengals. Next, we have a defensive tackle, Danny Amendola, and Coleman for a first, and a 4 from the Atlanta Falcons. All of these guys are depth players and just took up cap. Next, we have a left outside linebacker, a tight end, and a 4th round pick for a first and a next year's first from the Carolina Panthers. And Jamie Collins took up a lot of cap room, and this tight end took a little bit up. Next, this is what the team looks like after the trades. As you can see, not very much has changed on the offense nor defensive side of the ball, really. Just a lot of depth players, and I'm going to change the scheme to a 4-3 defense and just see what the best offense is, which is vertical power run. And defensively, 4-6 never works out really well, so I'm just going to leave it at base 4-3. And apart from that, this team looks pretty solid, and it's time to get into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a win to the New York Giants, 31-16, as we are about to face the 3-4 Las Vegas Raiders, and we are 3rd in the division, right behind the Vikings and the Packers. We have Kenny Golladay here, who I do want to re-sign, obviously, and he wants a lot of money, but he is definitely worth it because we do not have that many receivers, and we do have a lot more cap than I thought we would. So he wants more salary. Marvin Jones Jr. is here. I don't want to re-sign him. Taylor Decker is here. I'm going to re-sign him, but I probably shouldn't. Yeah, I will, I guess. And I didn't think he was going to accept that, but 6 years was not a good move on my part. But, yeah, because he's probably going to take up a lot of dead cap, because I probably will end up trading him, because left tackles do cost a lot, and they're pretty easy to pick up in the draft. So other than that, it is time to get into the playoffs. Here we are in the playoffs, as we're coming off a loss to the Green Bay Packers, 28-14, as we finish at the bottom of the division, 6-10. Matthew Stafford actually had a pretty solid season. Offensively, we were 12th best in the NFL. Defensively, we were 5th. DeAndre Swift was all right. Matthew Stafford was good. DeAndre Swift was and Quintez Cephas, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. I feel so stupid trying to pronounce that. Had a great season, but defensively, Javon Lee, had a most tackles on the team. Sacks, Trey Flowers with the most interceptions. Harmon with the most, and safeties 0, defensive touchdowns 0. Sorry for butchering every name, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce their names, but other than that, it is time to get into the offseason. Here we are in the offseason as the Cowboys beat the Browns in the Super Bowl 21-17. And we have players to re-sign, such as Kenny Golladay, who I didn't get into off camera, but I'm just going to give him the money he wants, and he accepts, he stays for the contract length, obviously, and everyone else here I don't really have an interest in. Doesn't really look like there's rookies here. Usually the roster screws that up. So other than that, really, I guess it would be time to get into free agency. Now, after free agency, this is what the team looks like. As you can obviously, first off, notice Joe Mixon, superstar X Factor here. So we're probably going to have to trade some running backs. And next, on the defensive side, we pick up Samsung Ebukam, and Trey Flowers has always been here. But apart from that, it is time to get into the draft. Here we are after the draft, as the O-line has improved a little bit. And we did get a wide receiver, and we did get a quarterback just to replace Matthew Stafford. Spencer Carpenter, hopefully, I'm probably going to say a star development. I don't think he's special, but 85 speed, that's a lot more than I thought he was. I thought he was going to be like 82, maybe 79, something like that. But we did get a wide receiver as well and a left guard. So pretty great pickups overall in the draft. And I'm pretty sure I picked up my QB in the second round because it wasn't QB stacked. And right outside linebacker, we did get one, and we did get a defensive back. I may move him to safety. I don't know yet. But other than that, I guess it would be time to get into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a loss to the Chicago Bears, 38-31, as we are second in the division behind the 6-1 Green Bay Packers. We have Desmond Trufant here to resign, but I'm not going to resign him. 29 years old. That's a no, especially for the amount of money he wants. This defensive tackle I do want to resign. His contract isn't... Do I sign? Okay. Actually, that guy was one of the rookies that had a screwed up contract, so I wasn't supposed to pay him that. But I guess I kind of got screwed over there. Yeah, because, again, the roster I downloaded has a bunch of screwed up contracts, like Romeo Okwara here should not be here. So I'm going to change that off camera, and it is time to get into the playoffs. Here we are in the playoffs as we do not make it, coming off a loss to the New Orleans Saints 30-22, as we finished third in the division at 9-7 with the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. And Spencer Carpenter had a solid season, second best offense and fourth best defense, so I don't know how we didn't make the playoffs, only finishing 9-7. Pretty interesting, though. Joe Mixon did have a great year. Kenny Golladay did have a pretty good year. Defensive wise, our middle linebacker with the most tackles, obviously. Tackles for a loss. It goes to Trey Flowers. Sacks, Trey Flowers, I believe it is. Yep. Interceptions, 3 for Jeff Okudah. Safeties, 0. Defensive touchdowns, 0. So this team is obviously progressing, as you can see. And other than that, it is time to get into the offseason. Here we are in the offseason as the Browns win the Super Bowl, crushing the Eagles. And we have players to resign here. Desmond Trufant, again, don't want. Everybody else here, don't really want. So apart from that, it is time to get into free agency. Here we are in free agency, well, after free agency, and our quarterback ended up getting Superstar X Factor. He didn't get that. He just had that since the draft. Jukebox, Leapfrog, Homer. Pretty solid abilities. And everyone else here, doesn't really look like they got an upgrade, but we did get Ryan Moranchek, who I think we might move to left tackle. I don't know yet. We may even trade our left tackle, but defensively, Trey Flowers is now a superstar development, and our outside linebacker, Oliver, is just a star development. And apart from that, it is time to get into some trades before we get into the draft. Here we are into some trades. Matthew Stafford and our third-string halfback for a 5th and the 9th pick in the draft from the Las Vegas Raiders. The game is saying it's Oakland Raiders, but it's Las Vegas Raiders. Next, we have our left tackle, our left end, Trey Flowers, and a fourth for a first and a first from the Buccaneers. Trey Flowers took up 20 mil per year, and our left tackle was taking up 14 mil per year, which I couldn't have on the team. Next, this is what the team looks like after the draft, as we easily replaced the left tackle and we got a right guard. The left tackle is only 4 overalls less, but guess what? Gets paid a whole $14 million a year less. And defensively, we got a defensive tackle and a free safety. So overall, great pickups on this team. And I think this could be the year we do it, maybe, possibly next year, but it's time to get into the midseason mark. And here we are at the midseason mark, about to play the Green Bay Packers, as we are 6-1, coming off a bye week, leading the division above the Chicago Bears. I don't know why I'm having a brain fart, but Jeff Okudah is here in free agency, and he shouldn't be here. Why he is, but there's a lot of rookies here who are in free agency, and again, shouldn't be there, so I will have to adjust that later. And I don't want to re-sign this center. Maybe I do. I don't want to pay that much, and I think I can pick up one maybe in the draft. Yeah, that's fine. You know, that's fine. I'll drop him later maybe, but it's time to get into the playoffs. Here we are in the playoffs, as we're getting a first-round bye coming off a win to Minnesota Vikings 23-13, as we finish in top of the division at 13-3, as Spencer Carpenter had a okay year. We were 5th best offense and the best defense in the NFL. Spencer Carpenter had a pretty good season compared to other quarterbacks. Joe Mixon and DeAndre Swift with a lot of rushing touchdowns. Kenny Golladay had an okay season. Defensively, our middle linebacker, most tackles for loss, 14 for Deshaun Hand. Sacks, 8.5 for Jimmy Oliver. Interceptions, 4 for our middle linebackers. Safeties is... Can this load, please? I don't know why this isn't loading. Yeah, I don't know why this isn't loading. Okay, there it goes. Finally. Safeties, 1 for Jamal Adams, and 0 defensive touchdowns. That was kind of weird. Sorry for rambling on about that. My controller kind of turned off for a second, but it's time to see if we will be playing, who we will be playing, and it will be the Chicago Bears division rival, who are 9-7. I'm going to hop into this one and just get straight into the game, so let's get into it. And here we are in the third quarter against the Chicago Bears. That is 10-14, now 10-21, now 18-21. Very close game within 3 points. Entering the fourth quarter, 18-28. We're in the red zone again, and we score a field goal, 18-31. Now it's 25-31 as the Bears get another 2-point conversion. And I'm going to hop into this one. And that will be your ball game as I take down the final knee, running out the clock, as your final score is 25-31. As Nick Foles is the Bears quarterback, and it's time to get into the playoffs. Now, in that last clip, I meant to say get into the conference championship, not just the playoffs, but we are here to play the 12-4 New York Giants against the 13-3 Detroit Lions, so let's just jump straight into this one. And here we are in the third quarter, 14-17, as we are about to enter the fourth quarter, as it is 20-14. Close game, 28-14 now, as we are pulling away, and we are in the red zone once again, 35-14. Last 2 minutes coming down to it. The Giants are about to score, and they do 21-35, and I think that's going to be it. And it is the Detroit Lions beat the New York Giants 21-35, and Patrick Mahomes was the Giants quarterback, which is kind of interesting, but it's time to get to the Super Bowl. Here we are in the Super Bowl as we are facing off against the 11-5 Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to see if the team has any development upgrades, and none that I can really see on the offense, really. And on defense, none that I can really see either. I guess we have this defensive end that's here. I don't know what that is, but I guess I'll just start him because he has better development. So apart from that, and looking at the developments, it is time to get into the Super Bowl. Here we are in the Super Bowl, second quarter, 5 minutes left. It is 14-7, and the Jaguars score as it is 14-14. Tight game, and we are in the red zone once again as we score 21-14. 2-minute drill. We're driving downfield, and we score, and so did the Jaguars. It's 23-21. We are down by 2, needing a score, and we are in the red zone again, and it's 24-23, 1-point difference here. Almost in the fourth quarter. We are now in the fourth quarter, and it is 24-31. I need to hop in here, and I will see you guys once it's over. Here we are. I'm the winner. I got the touchdown, and it is 38-31 as your final score, as Sean McVay is the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. and we win the Super Bowl. But apart from that, it is time to look who the Super Bowl MVP is. The Super Bowl MVP is Jeffrey Okudah. 8 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions. The star of this video, the new rookie by the Detroit Lions. But apart from that, it is time to get into the offseason, time to get into 2022. Here we are in the offseason, about to enter the year 2022 for the NFL. And all these players here I don't really want. Again, did in the midseason, but apart from that, it's time to get into free agency. In free agency, this is what the team looks like, as there's not much of a difference on offense, as you can really see. But defensively, we did pick up J.J. Watt and Jair Alexander, who was very, very expensive. Jair Alexander was very much expensive, but this is the last season, so it doesn't really matter. And apart from that, it's time to get into the draft. And after the draft, and after I simulated the draft, nothing really happened, so I'm just going to look at what the computer did, and I guess it got us another 5th string cornerback, so I guess that's cool. But other than that, it is time to get into the midseason mark and see what our midseason mark record is. Here we are in the midseason mark as we're coming off a win to the Miami Dolphins, as we are 6-1, about to face the New York Giants, top of the division, above the Chicago Bears. And nothing else really here that I can see other than players to get into, which I don't need to resign because it's the final season, so I'm not going to resign them. And apart from that, it is time to get into the playoffs. Here we are in the playoffs with the first round bye, coming off a win to the Arizona Cardinals, 37-21, as we are leading the division 13-3 once again. Our QB Spencer Carpenter with a pretty good season, 2nd best offense, 4th best defense. Spencer Carpenter, great season, only 8 interceptions. Joe Mixon, 16 touchdowns, almost 1,500 yards. Kenny Golladay had a pretty solid season. Defensive-wise, our middle linebacker with the most tackles for loss, 13 for J.J. Watt. Sacks, 12.5 for J.J. Watt. Interceptions, 3 for our middle linebacker. Safeties, 1 for Jimmy Oliver, and defensive touchdowns, 0. So apart from that, this is the final season. I already won the Super Bowl, so I'm just going to simulate every game unless we get to the Super Bowl. And if we get all the way to the Super Bowl while simulating, then I will hop into the Super Bowl, because why not? As we are here to play the 9-7 Seattle Seahawks, and I will simulate that as well in the divisional round to advance to the conference championship. And we are here to play the 9-6-1 Arizona Cardinals, simulating that again. And just to see the score afterwards, I'm not going to sim straight to the Super Bowl. And we win it 35-24, as we are going to be facing the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl just by simming it. But I will hop in the Super Bowl like I did just say. So the 12-4 Cincinnati Bengals versus 13-3 Detroit Lions. Let's get into it. Here we are in the 4th quarter, 5 minutes left. It is 19-7, 19-14 now, and I'm just going to continue to simulate it. But apart from that, really, it doesn't really matter because that game is over, and it is over. And yeah, that was pretty easy, as Zach Taylor cannot believe it with Joe Burrow as their quarterback. And yeah, that was actually a lot faster than I thought. That season went by fast, but it's time to get into the MVP. The Super Bowl MVP is Spencer Carpenter, over almost 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 76% completion rate. Very good Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls in back-to-back years. And other than that, let's look at the team. This is the team after the Super Bowl, and this is the team in the final seconds of this video. Anyways, guys, apart from that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I really enjoyed doing this team and really enjoyed building up Jeffrey Okudah. Even though he didn't get to Superstar X Factor, that doesn't really matter too much. But again, I still enjoyed it. If you guys did enjoy it, hit that like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike. But apart from that, I will see you guys in the next one.